Hey folks, it's Symbolic. Well, let's talk about Thunderfoot's latest videos and maybe some ancillary videos that are out there. This will be part talk and part Socratic method, I think. Um, when we want to create an enemy, either because we want an enemy or we want to exploit people or rob them of their rights, strip them of their rights, we generally first take a group and we vilify them. We make them monolithic, so that they all appear to be the same. And I'm sure you've seen the failure to clearly distinguish between extremists and ordinary Muslims in running through a thread, running through Thunderfoot's videos. Um, we generally want to desensitize people to the group. There's a couple ways this is done psychologically. The first way, generally, though sometimes people skip this stage, is you slide the group down the scale of civilization. So, as in the case of Thunderfoot's videos, you see references to people being barbaric, and his videos have progressed to one of the more recent ones, the flag burning one. He showed people trying to light a fire, and he referred to it as new fandangled technology. In other words, these people are at the point where they haven't even mastered fire yet. Um, Beyond that point, you then, once you've slid people all the way down the civilization scale, you then start to slide them down the evolutionary scale so that they are not even human anymore. In the first video, we saw a reference to the quote unquote Muslims having the power of ants. I pointed this out in my video, my first video, I believe, on the topic. Um, and in one of his more recent ones, he talks about after the protests, I believe over the Danish cartoons, uh, people could quote unquote smell the fear. Now I don't know about you, but I was taught as a child that animals smell fear. So we now have a reference to Muslims as animals, which is, I've foreseen this all along. I've been watching it unfold, and it's just amazing to watch it unfold. You'll also notice in another one of his videos he has a poster of a Cylon. If any of you have watched the science fiction show Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons are androids. Some of them can take human form or have taken human form, and basically the writing underneath says, a warning, Muslims have been found to have Cylon genes. So this is another way to dehumanize people. To a modern way is to basically refer to people as robots. As not another way to not be human. Either make them animals, make them robots. You can also invalidate people by calling them children. In other words, that they're non-compos mentis, and you see that Thunderfoot has also told Islam to grow up. And Zomai Goddess Chris has recently done a video telling Muslims to grow up. Yet I ask you, who's acting like the children here? Who's drawing cartoons? Who's upset that they didn't get to watch their cartoon show? Hmm? Not the Muslims. Um, so I mean, if we're going to talk about maturity levels in comparison, I mean, I would say that this subset of atheists is showing the most incredible immaturity I've ever seen. If speaking as American here for a moment, the citizenry is sovereign in the United States. Sovereign. We're supposed to conduct ourselves with a level of maturity. When Viacom, and I'll remind everybody, it was Viacom that censored the cartoon. Did any of you write letters to Viacom in protest? Did any of you buy shares in Viacom stock so that you could assert ownership over the company and go to the shareholder meetings and voice your concerns? Did any of you write your Congress people about the freedom of the press and speak about internet service providers as a form of press and telecommunication companies and companies like Viacom being a form of the press and free speech? Did any of you do any of those things that a mature citizen a member of society would do? Or did you just draw cartoons? Cartoons that you knew would be offensive to all Muslims, or most Muslims in any event. Certainly more than the narrow number of extremists who probably don't even watch YouTube anyway. Uh-huh. No, I guarantee you, I bet very, very few of you acted like mature adults and citizens and actually took these course of actions. Instead, you're acting like spoiled children and drawing a bunch of cartoons. You see Pakistan has had a actually very orderly protest, very mature, orderly protest from what I could tell. Um, Now, do you think this could affect international relations? Do you think this might affect the two wars that are going on right now? You think this might affect uh, our diplomatic abilities? Hmm? Think there might be some consequences, unintended consequences you didn't think of in your short-sightedness? Hmm? What about hate crimes against Muslims? With all this hate being stirred up, you think there'll be an increase in hate crimes against Muslims? There was after 9/11 and continuing. You think there'll be an increase in hate crimes? Did you stop to think about that? Hmm? Let me tell you, on a serious note, if there's an increase in hate crimes against Muslims, then any of you who participated in this with a prejudicial, biased drawing, any of you who left hate remarks and death threats and racist and prejudicial and ethically biased comments, that violence is partially on your hands. I hope you're ready for those consequences. You want the right to free speech, of course, we all do, but there's a responsibility that comes with it and the willingness to accept consequences. That's in the nature of courage. Courage isn't hiding out under an anonymous username and drawing immature cartoons and posting up on the internet. No, that's not courage. Um, there's been an absolute lack of economic analysis, political analysis, and historical analysis throughout this entire thing. You subset of atheists are attributing everything to religion. That's absolutely ridiculous, shallow, and unscholarly. You think politics have nothing to do with this? You think history has nothing to do with this? You think economics has nothing to do with any of this? You think culture has nothing to do with any of this? It's all just religion. It's all just a meme in the mind. The concept meme is also a meme. Uh, I still have to recommend that people unsubscribe from Thunderfoot. He's still doing his rhetoric. I believe in bringing down the numbers. Right now, he's saying that, people vote with their feet. In other words, he doesn't care if people unsubscribe, but I still think people should. On principle, I highly recommend it. I would recommend dissociating yourself from Draw Mohammed Day. You know, if you are going to submit an offensive drawing of Muhammad, there is absolutely no reason for it. Do you really think you're getting through to the terrorists? You really think they're going to listen to you? No, of course not. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the start. We really do need a dialogue, a mature dialogue on free speech. You know, we don't have dialogue. We have people bantering absolutes back and forth. That's hardball. That's not philosophy. That's not discussion. That's not politics. That's not what mature individuals and mature citizens and sovereign citizens do. They discuss things like mature adults instead of bantering absolutes back and forth. Free speech this and free speech that. Yeah, of course it's free. Speech is free. I mentioned this in another video, and I'll mention it again. I have the right. Well, let's take the American culture. Generally, people cherish their mothers. They identify with their mothers. They cherish their mothers. Okay. Now, if I walk down the street and everybody I meet, I walk up to them, get in their face, and say, "Your mother's a whore." All right, that's my right to free speech. I can say that. Of course, I can say that. It's highly disrespectful. It's insulting, but I can say it. And most people I pass by and insult will just think I'm a crazy guy. How would you feel if I walk right up to you and say, your mother's a whore? Okay? All right. But most people will go along with it for the sake of peace, you know. But eventually, you know that I'm going to run across somebody who's going to hit me in the mouth. Is it justified, the violence? No, it is unjustifiable. It's assault and battery, and it's a felony. It's not justifiable. Is it predictable? Yes, it's predictable. So I ask you, what is the point in insulting people and things that people cherish? Huh? Because remember, you're insulting over 1 billion people who have done nothing to you. Absolutely nothing to you. So think about it, do some critical self-examination, withdraw from Draw Mohammed Day if you have drawn a disgusting picture. Goodbye.